And we got the ding. And look at that, Mikey. All of a sudden,
Oh,
we're
we're live?
live.
I'll be
We're
darned.
live. Look at that.
Well, I'll be switched, as they say.
Well, you could be. I mean, there's people in the world that I'm sure would, love to switch you. I'd rather fight than switch.
Well, we had technical difficulties on Wednesday. It turned out to be a wackier Wednesday than usual, but that leaves us with a lot of material for a Freaky Friday.
Yes, we could. We probably have 4 hours worth of material today between everything that has gone on. You want to spin the wheel and and spin it and start somewhere?
Well, we could start with the new Speaker of the House, who is not from the political world. He's from the fundamentalist, religious, Christian, death
Yeah.
death wielding God of let's see, was this not the God of love? Oh, the God of vengeance. There you go.
Yeah.
That's his God. He's a vengeful God, waiting in the wings to do his vengeful work. He'll turn you into a pillar of salt. He'll create a flood. He'll burn your town. It's the kind of God that you can count on in tough times.
I I have taken to calling him Mr. Peepers, which probably won't register with our younger audience, but anybody who watched Hollywood Squares knows the name Wally Cox.
What a horrible thing to do to Wally. Poor Wally. What did he ever do to you?
I know, but he just look. I look at him and he reminds me of Wally Cox, man. He's got that, and Wally Cox was the original geek. I mean, now that kind of geek is accepted, but back when men were manly men, he was the original geek, right?
And this geek from Louisiana, from Shreveport, Louisiana, the first thing he said as Speaker of the House when he went up to take the gavel from Hakeem Jeffries was, my wife couldn't make it because this was kind of sudden. She's been on her knees for the past 2 weeks praying to the Lord. And I thought, what an ugly image. What a terribly disrespectful, ghastly thing to say about someone that you ostensibly are in love with.
Well, no, wait a second, Michael. I mean, Donald Trump said that Stormy Daniels was on her knees for 2 weeks.
She was praying for it to end. She was just praying for the end. My God, let this end.
I mean, for some people, I guess it'll get you someplace getting on your knees.
And Johnson, the new speaker, has 5 children, all that he has to protect by saying that Donald Trump is God's missionary here on earth, sent by a supreme being to meet up with relatives of Benito Mussolini and John F. Kennedy and Dealey Plaza and lead us into the new world, uh, officiated by Donald Trump as our king and emperor.
It's it really is a sickness. It really is. It's. I mean, it's so it's so reminiscent of Jim Jones and that whole um, uh, um, follow the cult leader thing.
How did Jim Jones come up with the Kool-Aid? He said, we need something big. We need something really big. I
But it
know.
has to be cheap.
Kool-Aid.
Right. This will aid you in becoming cool. Um, I just think it's that you have these. There was somebody done a video yesterday. Well, I didn't do it yesterday. It was on YouTube. I ran across it yesterday, and it was Trump supporters from like maybe a week ago. And he's at some Trump convention thingy somewhere, and he's talking to people. And these are normal looking people. The people that live next door, the people that live down the block, the guy who stopped next to you at the traffic light. And as he's talking to him and he's asking him about Trump, the stuff that's coming out of their mouth is the kind of thing that you hear
In
in,
asylums.
in horror movies. We'll follow him. He's going to save the world. He's going to, lead us to the promised land.
Ooh.
He understands the average person. He understands. Yeah, I mean, maybe what he understands is that his supporters are among the stupidest people in the world.
Incredibly, incredibly depressing.
And that he can simply say the word and get over on them. He can actually order them to go out and hurt people, and they'll do it.
The new speaker, in reference to the horrific killings in Lewis and Maine, said, "This is not the time for legislation. This is the time for prayer. And there's nothing wrong with guns. This is simply a matter of the American heart. There's something wrong with the American heart."
Yeah.
Which echoes the work of the Texas politician who said nothing can be done, if you remember that one.
Well, yeah, he said, what did he say? He said, let's leave it there.
Yeah, let's pray and leave it right there.
Let's pray and leave it right there. Do you think that that's what the 13 people who are dead wanted to hear? Well, the 18 people, I should say, excuse me. Do you think the 13 injured wanted to hear that? Do you think the families of these people wanted to hear, let's leave it there?
Does he mean just leave the bodies where they are and let the crows take care of it? Or did he mean leave the bodies where they are for a little while longer? Let's have something to eat. We'll come back and clean this up later.
Yeah, let's go get a po' boy and some beignets and watch the black folk work. And then we'll come back and we'll do nothing.
They have a new cleaning foam for hallways. You don't know how powerful it is till you've tried it on blood spattered bowling alleys. It really it does the job. It really does the job. It cleans that area beautifully. But that's for later. Let's leave that as it was.
Michael, I used to say that, we got to do something about it. We send idiots to Washington. And while I still believe that to be true, what is evident that we as a people continue to enjoy sending these people to Washington. We enjoy. Do you know that when this shooting happened, there wasn't hardly anything on Facebook about it. Now, usually when a shooting happens, there's just everybody is on their thoughts and prayers and this and that and bing, boop, and that. Everybody's jumping in on it and saying, at least, I'm sorry. This shouldn't be happening. This should, something should be done. I hardly saw anything on Facebook about it. And that tells me that we're getting a little goddamn too used to this. And a little goddamn too afraid to voice our opinions.
You wouldn't want to
about
upset
things.
Speaker Johnson, would you? You can call me Ray. Excuse me. You can call me Jay. You can call me Shreveport, Louisiana. You can just call me what you want. Anyway, this guy is poison. He's the worst element of organized religion multiplied by viciousness, endorsement of murder, endorsement of shooting in the streets, endorsement of indiscriminate slaughter. He endorses all that, but he won't say a word about Vladimir Putin, who takes down apartment houses full of children as a course of getting up and doing his work every day. He's pro-life. That's why he's pro-Putin.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to these people, and that's the thing that you would hope would get them, is that they're getting in bed with the devil, so that they can tell people what to do with their bodies. and there's no good end result to that. There's nothing in that says, well, this is going to turn out okay.
No,
This is
I'm
going to
afraid
be
not.
something that's going to turn out good for you or you or you or anybody. It's not. It's not going to turn out good for any of these people.
You want me to change the subject and brighten your day?
Well, let's just
Let's keep it grim for a little while longer.
well, you have to spin the wheel and let's see what else we come up with, because I think we're all in agreement on this is a guy who, listen, he had been election denier. Once he was one of the people who were the architects
The big
of
lie.
the denial of Joe Biden being elected president. You really didn't have to tell me much more.
Now, does he get invited to the White House ever? Or does he have to be
Yeah,
kept in
Mr.
a...
Peepers is going to head over to the White House.
I don't
Yeah,
think
got
he
to
should
go to the
be
White
let in.
House.
He's got to say who's president before he's allowed to go in. He has to say, "Good morning,
See, I
Mr.
would agree with
President."
that. I think Joe Biden has to stop him at the door and say, "Let me hear you say it."
Yeah,
Well, let me hear you say it, or you can't come in. You're exactly right.
absolutely.
You got to say it. And if not, I'm going to pull any federal money I can out of your district.
Louisiana's not going to get a dime.
And what's this I hear about your wife on her knees all the time? How does that work?
What Lord is she praying to? Oh, Mr. Trump.
Oh, it's so bizarre. We're in such a bad place in this country, but luckily, the cradle of civilization will lead us out of it.
Well, first we have 2 wars to administer to, and
Which one do you want to minister to first?
I want them both equally done at the same time.
I don't think we can do that. We have to send people here, then we have to pick them out and send them over there.
I'd say if we need people to help us in Ukraine, send Republicans. They'll find Jesus on the way over there. You can bet for a fact that things will get straightened out before they get off that plane. We're sending you to Kyiv. I want you to file a report and get back to me about how things are going there. But you're going to have to check the front to know precisely how that works. So I'm sending you to the front as a special presidential envoy.
Which way is the front?
It's that way toward...
I mean, you keep telling me about this front. I don't know where the front is. Is it that way? Is it that way? Is it
It's
that
that
way?
way.
Where is the front?
Well, it's like finding a good place to eat in Slovakia. You have to know where you're going, and you gotta have some luck too.
My question is always, which way to the front?
When you land in Kyiv, you're facing the front. So just go that way.
How do you know? How you know you're not facing the back and the war is over there, not here?
No, war's over there. That's the front. That way.
Well,
they don't have a Highway 66 in Ukraine, or if they did, it's been torn up now, so often nobody can use it.
That's the lucky thing. Is they don't have a 66 or a 66A. Although unfinished, 66A is still, a vital east-north artery.
It's like the border wall. We've been working on it. We're going to get it taken care of. But 66A is, for now, unfinished.
Well, don't say anything about the border wall because, now Biden has endorsed it. He said that I got to do it. I'm going to put the border wall up as well. And what can you say? What do you do?
Will it be a big border wall or a tiny, manageable border wall?
Well, why is nobody selling advertising on the border wall?
It should say Heilman, shouldn't it?
I mean, get a couple of these people from Major League Baseball together that sell advertising on the outfield walls. They're all every ballpark you go to has advertising on the outfield wall.
Yeah, the
Get a
Giants have
few of them together.
a big Chevron ad in left field.
Yeah, you got the Chevron ad. You got the Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks ought to have an ad there. And what you can even do is you can bonus them the Mexican side, like sell them the American side, so that the
But sell
people that are going down to
Spanish radio on the other side.
right, and then bonus them the Mexican side, so they'll feel like they're getting 2 times the wall for nothing.
Well, they are. They're getting both sides now.
Yeah, and you have Judy Collins go down there and do a benefit concert.
What's the potato chip? Utz?
Utz, yes, out of Philadelphia.
They're interested in the spot.
Yeah, Utz will take a spot. I'm sure that Dodger dogs.
You have to get out of your seat to get a Dodger dog. They don't sell them in the stands.
I'm sure they'll still be making so much money with Dodger dogs. They'll probably Toyota and Chevrolet will probably take a couple of spots on the wall.
Looks like Ford made a deal, by the way, huh?
Yeah. I think it's going to get done. Everything's going to get done here in the next week or so.
Wish we could say the same for the SAG-AFTRA strike. That's not getting
no.
done.
That looks like it's going to go for a while.
The writer's strike cost the television film industry $5 billion that they didn't self-inflicted wound. And now the SAG-AFTRA strike continues, costing another billion. We don't know how much it's going to, what the estimate's going to be.
You think it's costing them money? Whether you see how much Pink's hot dogs is down. Those are the people that are going to be hurt. Actually, you know what? Pink's will probably be okay. Places like Spago and the trendy restaurants that nobody can go afford because you don't have to be seen now. There's nobody to see. Everybody's on strike.
I would like the hot link that they have at Pink's. Hot, spicy, lots of mustard, onion.
Yeah, it's yeah. Now I shouldn't have said that because now I'm thinking about food.
And I'm thinking about Pink's, and I hadn't thought. I mean, that's something you drive by on La Brea. You don't always stop, but maybe this time there's always a line. You just can't pull right into Pink's and get served. It's going to take you a while.
Right. It's like Dick's on Capitol Hill. You're going to go there, and it's going to be,
Now, what should I get if I go to Dick's? By the way, I'm not as familiar with the menu as I once was.
I'm always a deluxe guy. The problem with Dick's is you can't. It's really hard to variate from anything that, like, if you go there and ask them for a plain burger, they look at you like you're a zombie.
Just the meat, nothing on it. Come on. That's the great thing about In-N-Out. They revel in getting your order correct, and as many variations as you wish to throw at them, they're ready for it.
It's probably the best fast food burger there is.
And they cook it. They actually start from nothing and cook your burger.
Yeah. No, I think In-N-Out's probably the standard that everybody tries to achieve and nobody does. I don't know. Do you consider Shake Shack a fast food burger, or is that or Five Guys?
Five Guys, they do start from scratch. Shake Shack, I don't know if they do. I hope they do.
Well, they just opened up a Shake Shack.
Their finished product
in the city,
yeah.
But I hardly go to the city anymore unless I'm forced to. I'm starting to sound like I'm from here.
Well, you
I
go to
don't
Bellevue.
go in Seattle anymore unless I got it. That place is crazy.
It reminds me of Wenatchee. I couldn't believe how much they hate the West Side in Wenatchee.
Oh, it's not just the whole east side of the state.
They won't even say Seattle; they just call it the West Side.
Yeah. It's because they're controlled by us here. That's what their gripe is that they're controlled by the liberals over on the west side.
Well, someone's got to take care of the place, and it's not going to be them.
Oh no, this would be a much different state if it were controlled by the people that live in Wenatchee.
It'd be Washington deniers. Where do you live? Can't say. Can't
Yeah,
say.
our president would be Trump. Our governor would be Culp, a guy that couldn't get out of a paper bag, couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag, but is all bluster and oh no, it would be oh my god, it wouldn't be among the top 5 states to move to. Everybody talks about places you want to move to if you live somewhere else, and Washington always comes up in the top 5 on that list. No income tax and this and that. If the east side of the state was running the state, you wouldn't have any. It'd be like Idaho or Montana or something like that. Now maybe that's not for some people. That's not bad,
But for
but
humans, actual human
for
beings,
many people, it's just there's no. If you get sick, you fend for yourself.
just bring your bodies out and leave them on the sidewalk. We have pickups on Tuesdays. Tuesday mornings,
Right.
though. Don't bring them
Yeah.
out on
There
Tuesday
isn't.
night.
Yeah. I mean, Medicaid doesn't exist. Supplements for Medicare don't exist that are paid for the government. Senior citizen programs don't exist, but they'll take the farm subsidies.
Oh yeah, why not?
Anytime you have a farm subsidy,
Especially after they lost their cherry market to China, thanks to
yeah,
Donald
they'll
Trump,
be
and
there
had
to
to
pick it
had
up.
to had to sell them all to Vietnam instead of the loss.
They'll be certainly be upset about that. So that's the cherries and the apples will instead of Boeing and Microsoft will rule the state. A bunch of farmers will rule the state. Some of them big wazoo boys that play defensive line will be running the state.
Well, I can't wait.
uh,
I just can't wait to look forward to that.
I could, I could, love the Cougs and everything like that, but I, there's no there's not many. I'm not going to say there's no, but there's not many progressive people over there. Don't forget, this is the east side of the state is the side that thought that when Tom Foley got bounced as a congressman and was Speaker of the House, that the next guy that took his place, George Nethercutt, would become the Speaker of the House.
That's what they were told on hate radio, and they believed it.
How do you
This
fight
guy,
that?
this guy will fall afoul of his own. The sharks are circling. They're not hungry right now. Mr. Johnson of Shreveport will find his own way into the mouth of a shark.
Well, he's going to be protected for a while, but I don't know how long America's taste for clowns like Matt Gaetz is going to go on. I don't know how long. Listen, this party, these elections that are coming up, and they're just mostly local elections. I mean, how do you walk into a voting booth right now and vote for any Republican?
It's like holding a knife to your own throat.
Yeah, how do you vote for Republican right now? I mean, there's a lot of Democrats I don't want to vote for.
Plus, you're not voting for a Republican. You're voting for someone who's so afraid that his family is going to be murdered as a result of his disloyalty to Donald Trump that he'll say and do anything.
Right.
His vote is not his vote, and it's not your vote. It's Donald Trump's vote, and it's Donald Trump's will and the whim of Trump from day to day. And when he's wrong, he doesn't get fined $10,000. Although I love that judge in New York who keeps piling it on. Trump, I hope he stays angry because every time he opens his mouth, it's another 10 grand.
I mean, I love to see him angry because I figure one day one of his valves in his heart's going to blow out. and if and within a day or two they'll find out that he's having a heart attack, and I mean, I don't wish nothing bad for anybody, but something's got to happen to take us out of the to take our leaders out of the grip of this guy.
He like a mob boss, he'll probably have the ability to dictate what he wants done from prison. I'm coming back.
Well,
I'm coming back from
listen,
federal prison to rule again.
the possibility exists that he could be running the country from prison.
It does exist on paper, yes.
It does exist. I don't understand why anybody would vote for him, but
or believe him.
I'm a sensible guy.
or see him as this avatar of good sense and wonderful politics and solemn judgment. How can you look at that grifter and see anything but a charlatan?
I don't know how anybody could look at him and take him serious for anything. I mean, I wouldn't take him serious as dog catcher. I just don't understand how anybody can take him seriously. I mean, he talks about Joe Biden being senile, and listen to Trump talk for an hour and a half and tell me how long you can listen to it.
He can storm out of any courtroom and find a gaggle of reporters in front and just live in his own world for those 30 or 40 seconds of explanation.
See, that's what he's got, Michael, and it's sad to say that that's all he needs. He's got, every time he farts, CNN runs it. Well, they're a little busy now between Maine and Israel. They don't know which way to turn next. But otherwise, if it's a slower news day, we got to check in with what Donald Trump is saying today.
By the way, he has 30 days to pay these fines. Has he paid the fines? He was $5,000 first time, $10,000 the second time. What's the penalty if he doesn't pay?
I guess jail, right? I mean, I guess conceivably, if he doesn't pay the fine like anybody else, they'd issue a warrant for his arrest, and next time he showed up at court or he got pulled over,
run the warrants on the ex-president. Yeah. Well, I encourage him to stiff the court is what I do. He owes him $15,000. Forget about it. You don't know it if you don't want to.
Michael, let me ask you a question. Seriously, do you want television to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year camera on the front of whatever jail that Donald Trump gets remanded to? Do you want that?
Put him in.
With shifts of reporters from MSNBC and CNN and CBS and ABC and NBC and every other news outlet in the world standing in front of it?
Let's go to the Shebang Courthouse, New York Vinnie's, and on the steps where he's been following how many more days for Trump before they let him go? I know.
Well, I've just added. CBS has requested that they add a month to his sentence. Our ratings are so good that we want him to stay there. We don't want him out.
Keep him. We'll pay for it.
Well, we don't have to hire a news crew. We can send a news crew to one place. We don't have to keep going to court in Florida, court in Georgia, court in New York, court wherever else. We don't have to spend all that. You know what it's costing us in hotel rooms?
That's exactly the questions that ABC is asking itself right now as they are trying to sell their own stations, WABC, KGO, KABC, WLS, television. And in addition to that, Robert Iger is now shopping ESPN. See who wants to buy the whole thing and turn it into a pay channel.
which is going to happen no matter who buys it. Anybody who thinks that you're not going to have to pay to watch your local Major League Baseball team or football team is nuts. If you want to watch the Mariners, and this will probably happen within a year, they're taking Root Sports off of the regular cable package and moving it to a premium package. So you're going to have to get like HBO and Showtime and 3 or 4 different other services that you'll probably never watch.
Stars and Epics.
Yeah, if you want to watch Root Sports, if you want to watch Mariner games or Kraken games.
Well, I refer you to the famous Pac-12 network and how wonderful their penetration was within their Pac-12 markets and how wonderful and worthless the whole package is now that nobody's in the Pac-12. By the way, Washington State and Oregon State took the rest of the Pac-12 to court saying, if you're leaving the Pac-12, you have no vote, no right to control what happens to it. Goodbye. We'll be in charge.
And they probably have a pretty good point, don't they?
They have a great case.
I'm not a lawyer, but I sure think they do. If you're going, you can't tell us what to do.
You're not the boss of me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a whole mess that nobody really is dealing with right now because we're smack dab in the middle of the season.
It's in the courts,
but
yeah.
So everybody has kind of not making a big deal out of it for the most part, or at least I don't see it as people running around and making a big deal out of it. But good God. Yeah, I don't listen, there is going to come a day in this country where people are going to have enough. They're going to say, I can't pay $200 a month for sports. Sports is good when it came in on Channel 9 or Channel 2, and I could turn the TV on when I got home from work, and I could watch my favorite team. But this whole idea of you want me to pay more money for tickets when the good teams come to town. You want me to pay more money for cable. You want me to pay, if I don't have a jacket or a sweater or something, you want me to buy that. Sorry.
You want baseball, but to get baseball, you have to buy hockey, tennis, and horseback riding.
Tell you what, I'll get in my car. I'll load the kids in the car. We'll go up to Everett. We'll watch the Aqua Sox. They don't know. The kids in the back don't know the difference. And to be honest with you, the difference isn't so much that it's worth the $50 to park my car and $15 a beer, $20 if you want a premium beer, and $9 for a box of Cracker Jacks.
Now, when you're there, is there any protection against mass shootings when you're at these sporting events? Because the bowling alley guy.
Yeah, I don't even know if somebody's going to start throwing pot shots at me. Although there's never been protections from that kind of thing, but now they're more normal. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, there was a shooting at the Polo Grounds. There was a guy who went up on one of the apartment building roofs that was across from the Polo Grounds and shot down into the Polo Grounds and actually killed somebody in his seat.
Sounds like a Dodger fan.
And that was as big a story. One guy, one person shooting. But again, shooting into a crowd of people he didn't know.
Did he find him, or did he escape into the woods like Mr. Carr?
No, they actually eventually found him. But that was a huge story. Now it doesn't even make social media. Now
Doesn't
it's
even
like,
get referenced.
oh, oh, where is that? Oh, yeah.
Oh, in Maine. By the way, Maine is a constitutional carry state. You don't have to buy a license to have a gun.
Yeah, you
In
just,
fact,
yeah.
and you can carry it openly at any time. Carry it on your shoulder, put your 6-shooter on your gun belt, and walk around town.
Walk
And
around with it if you want, yeah.
how's that working for him?
It's always been a little suspect. I spent a lot of time in Maine. When we were kids, youngsters, um, we used to go up to Maine a lot, to a town called Kennebunkport, which eventually became famous, with the Bushes living there,
Right.
having their compound there. But this was way before really many people knew who this was. 70, 71, 72. So the father was, I mean, they had the compound, but nobody knew who the kids were. And that was, people up there live differently than people in New York.
They sure do.
I mean, people used to walk around with guns. They used to have guns in their cars and trucks. Now, I will admit that it certainly made you think about screwing with people. It certainly took that idea of if you get into, road rage with somebody, you're going to think twice before you start to try to run them off the road.
You want to mouth off during cornhole night at the bar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're just going to keep. Matter of fact, my friend's mother used to run the bar in Kennebunkport, one of the bigger bars in Kennebunkport. She owned it, um, and we used to go there. And I don't remember anybody. I think maybe you couldn't carry a gun in the bar. I think there was something in the law that said that you couldn't. You had to leave your gun somewhere. You couldn't take it into the bar.
Alcohol and firearms, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, nothing could go wrong. But yeah, it's a different world than then. The only thing I noted when I posted on Facebook about it the other day is that I know the people of Maine to be strong people. A little whacked out, but strong. And they'll get through this as everybody else gets through it.
You think this guy is dead in the woods, or is he already in Colorado heading west?
I don't know, man. This is a strange one. This is a really strange one. My gut tells me he's not. My gut tells me he's alive. And my gut's pretty big, so it has a large opinion, but I don't something about this guy that doesn't seem now again, we haven't seen the notes and this and that, but there's something, just a gut feeling I get that he's still roaming around. I don't know that he's going to be shooting anybody else.
Well, he's hearing voices, and the voices are telling him to run, Johnny, run.
But as far as him killing himself, I don't get that so far. Now, again, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Who knows? But my gut feeling says that this guy is still roaming around. He may even he may actually at some point want to get caught. He's just dicking with the cops right now. So that's one thing that was interesting to me about Maine and New England in general. People love to dick with the cops, especially small town cops. Like a police force of, well, I mean, Alice's Restaurant. The whole song is about dicking with the cops. And in Maine, I found that song, or a derivative of it, to be very true. People used to, there was two cops in town on each shift, and
Barney Fife and Barney Fife.
yeah, and people loved to screw with them. There was there was that New England kind of anti-authority thing going on,
Yeah.
and they just love. I mean, they really love to dick around with the cops, man. They would do shit to them, and put firecrackers in there. They just minor shit that would screw with them. We weren't trying to
Now
hurt them or anything. It
you
was
can
just a
try that.
thing to do up there.
Sounds like cool, innocent fun. You can try that in L.A. and
Well, you get your head blown off.
you're a dead man. Yeah.
But I guess the cops up there were used to it. They knew about it. They knew who was doing it. I mean, it's a freaking small town.
Hey,
How
you
do you
kids.
not know who's doing it? And maybe for the most part they went along with it. I don't know. But I remember that there was a real thing up there about dicking with the cops. And however they could,
Well, Speaker
whatever it
Johnson
was.
just wants you to know that this is not about legislation. It's not about social consciousness. It's not about any of those things. It's about prayer.
Yeah, we
Get
got
on
to
your
pray our
knees and
way.
pray.
We got to
We're gonna
pray
have to
our
pray,
way out of it. Well, I got to, I
or
think I've
else.
told you the story a million
Yeah.
times before, but I'll tell you again. Um, when I was in high school, I went to Catholic high school, and my I asked my football coach once, well, we go to a Catholic high school. God is on our side. Certainly we're going to win this game, aren't we, coach? And he said to me, if you block your man, we will. you know, just because you pray. I mean, yeah, it's all great and well and good, but you got to do the things that you got to do to fix it.
No, that's the Republicans can't do that. Republicans don't
God
want
is
that
too busy to
responsibility.
find you a parking space.
But he's omniscient and all-knowing, so he could theoretically
He
find you
could,
that
but he's
parking
just
spot.
got a lot of stuff going on.
But he won't unless what? There's always a quid pro quo with God. What's the
He's got
quid pro quo?
Yeah, he's got 30 million teenage girls praying that they want to meet Taylor Swift. You think he's got time to screw with you and your prayers that gun violence is going to go away? You
All
can't
right.
do that.
Of all the people praying about Taylor Swift, look, we're going to take the first 15, and then that's it for today. I got stuff to do.
Yeah,
What are you
he's
going to
got,
do? I'm driving a hurricane to Mexico, and it's going to flare up overnight, destroy everything in the Yucatan, and Acapulco is going to be 80% disabled. And I want to do this now because it's something I'm interested in. I like hurricanes. Okay, I'm God. I invented them.
and also, to be quite honest with you, there's a few new floats in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I certainly want to watch them. So I want to sit down for a day. I don't get to sit down on Christmas. I got to go to, all this stuff. But Thanksgiving, I just want to sit down and watch the parade. Can I do that?
You got to get up early, even if you're God. They're going to start the parade whether you're ready or not.
I can fix that for an hour or so. I can have a hard rain or snow fall, over the parade. We can have to
When
wait.
it's something you want, you can get it done. But when everybody's
I'm
praying
God.
for it, yeah. Well,
I'm God. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is I'm God because I can do all of this stuff. Now, if you could do it, then guess what? You'd be God.
actually, when you try that, you turn out to be the devil. Hold it. What are you doing? Well, I'm doing everything you're doing, and I'm doing it better. Well,
Yeah,
you
but
got
it's
to
not
go.
working for everybody.
You got to go.
It doesn't work for everybody. Watch any movie from watch Heaven Can Wait. Watch What's the other one there with the original Heaven Can Wait with Robert Taylor.
Mr.
Um,
Belvedere, whatever that was.
yeah, watch any one of those movies where they call on God to do something. It never really works. Well, I guess maybe the one with Morgan Freeman and Jim Carrey, that worked out okay for him, right?
For one guy,
Uh,
and it took all day. So not
right.
much of a
George
God.
Burns, did it work out for him when he was God? Maybe not.
He got a new toupee. He looked pretty good for the part.
Yeah,
Speaking of
George. Well,
showbiz,
yeah, George always looked good. George was a good looking guy until he dropped dead.
speaking of show business, there's a new song coming out by the Beatles called "Now and Then" that John Lennon recorded on a demo in 1977, and Ringo and George and Paul put it together over 2 different sessions, and it's coming out next week. But you can buy it now on a 10-inch single. I haven't heard it, so I don't know. It'll be released first week in November, and we'll get to hear what it sounds like.
The Lost Beatles song, huh?
The last Beatles song.
Well, you think it'll be the last, or will somebody find something somewhere?
It'll be the last that all 4 worked on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. Unless you know what? Unless it sucks.
I can't tell you if it sucks or not, but I would think that they put it together in such a way as to prevent major sucking, but I can't guarantee that. It's like that, which brings me to the Giants. The Giants prepared to avoid major sucking, and they hired a new manager, Bob Melvin. He was a catcher for the Giants in the mid '80s. He distinguished himself as the manager of the A's. He embarrassed himself as the manager of the Padres. And fortunately, he landed on his cleats on this one. I think he's a good fit. We got a manager, but he does not have a team. And that was the problem with the last manager. You can say anything you want about Gabe Kaplan. He's gone. But Gabe Kapler's problem was not how he managed the team. It was a problem with the performance of that team or the team itself. And that's
Right.
something we have yet to address. And our general manager is saying, well, we hope a lot of these guys come back. Why? What did they do for you that was so wonderful that you want them back? They're less expensive than the Padres lineup. They're less expensive than the Dodgers lineup. Is that what you like about it? You can stay in the league and still be a crapola team that can't play 500 ball. No, you need a team. Take a look. Take a look at. Can you beat the Diamondbacks? Doesn't look like it.
Well, that's what I like about the Mets is they lost their manager and they're not bringing back 5 free agents. And 5 free agents said, "Well, I'm not going to come back." And I said, "Okay."
That's fine.
We invoked the old what was it? The old Leo DeRocha line. I can I lost 100 games last year with you. I could probably lose 100 without you. You know.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
one of the mid pitchers who wants to come back to the team because he didn't have a very good year last year is making $12.5 million a year, not pitching very well. He made 12 and a half. He's going to make another 12 and a half next year. And there's no demand that he pitch better, that he turn into a professional. The Giants are willing to pay him another 12 and a half just to be there, just to show up.
well, it's again, you just get these ridiculous contracts. I mean, look what they did and again, yeah, I loved the move at the time, but a smart baseball guy should have known it. Scherzer, certainly Scherzer and what's his name didn't have anything left in the tank. Now they seem to have something left in the tank. Or not Scherzer. I mean, he looks like he's done. Uh, but I almost said Van Landingham. Holy moly. You got me thinking Giants. But Verlander seems to have had something left in the tank.
Yep.
And they made obscene money from the Mets. And I have no problem with the money they made because the guy that's paying them to was one of what do you call it, Madoff's buddies. So may as well spread the money around a little bit. You figured out how to keep it.
It's not his money anyway. It's somebody else's money.
Yeah, some old Jewish lady is living in a box on Union Turnpike because you know because Madoff screwed her, and now Uncle Steve has the money. But that's life, I guess, right? It could happen to any of us.
Speaking of life,
Anyway,
I loved your post about the oldest dog in the world dying. Bobby, the old dog.
yeah,
31 years
yeah,
old.
31 years old. That's good news. Was looking for something to lift me up. I started crying when I read it.
Bobby, help me find the gunman in the woods. Come on, we're going hunting.
Yeah, we're going hunting, pal. I know, man. I was distraught after that. I was like, wait a minute. I'm looking for good news. I go figure if there's anywhere to find good news, it's on RFD TV. And what did I get? The oldest dog in the world is dead. Yeah, that's uplifting. That made me feel good. Jeez.
Well, a lot of them are farmers who would have killed and eaten that dog if he had been younger and more tasty.
Or Republicans in Louisiana.
Well, this is how you learn about the cycle of life. You raise pets and then you kill them and then you eat them.
Yeah, that's why I could never do the farm thing. There was always something. I mean, I was brought up thinking that beef came in a package with cellophane on it. Out of some factory in New Jersey.
And you were right.
Not, what the guy behind the meat counter was cutting, came in a box. They took it out of the, I didn't associate, my mother never said to me when I was 4 years old, well, take a look at that cow over there and go moo as we're passing in the car, but don't go moo too loud because you're going to meet him again in 3 weeks on your dinner plate.
Speaking of 4-year-olds, I was in the company of my grandson yesterday, a 4-year-old, who was showing us around the backyard like we were buying the house. And this is happening, and then there's something over here. And he said the top of that tree came off, and it came down. And he said he turned to Kristen and myself and said, "I've never seen anything like it." And I thought, there's a long list of things that applies to when you're 4 years old.
Yeah, when you're 4 years old,
there's just so many things you haven't seen, or anything like it, for that matter.
Boy, kid, are you going to be surprised? Although, who knows what you're going to, by the time you get to be 18 and 19, who knows what the hell you're going to see.
With his energy level, I would just say, watch the hell out, because man, oh man, what a blistering pace he sets during the day. Yeah,
there's no lack of energy in young kids, is there?
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I mean, most of the young kids I know that are usually now at this point grandkids of people we know, move about at a pace that I never thought I moved about at when I was that age.
No, they're
they're 10 times smarter. They get the cell phone and they're on a computer and they know more. They know how to. I'm almost amazed at what they know how to do.
It's a fact. It's an absolute fact.
Yeah, I mean, kids. We used to think we were smart when we were kids because we watched Superman fly.
Now we have Republican children who are refusing to use email or text or anything because it's the Donald Trump model. Don't leave a trail. Don't have friends. Don't be online. Have somebody else do that for you.
Well, I can't say that. I can't say that that's a bad idea. I mean, I got to be honest with you, Michael. That's kind of an idea that my father pounded into my head when I was a kid.
Don't leave a trail.
Don't talk on your phone if you're going to talk to somebody about something. Go use a payphone. Pay cash for everything you can.
If anybody wants to know where you were, just tell them you were with Alan Weisselberg, and he
made
somebody.
You do it. Always have a friend who, whenever the cops will call, say, "Yeah, he was with me."
And where were you two? At Rikers.
It's a club. You always have a predetermined scenario, alibi.
What do you got for your show tomorrow?
We are going to be looking at a car that I'm very enthusiastic about, and you're going to laugh at me when I tell you what the make of the car is.
It's
But I'm you want
Kia.
to take a guess?
I guess Kia.
No, it's actually an American car. Would you really rather have
Buick?
a Buick? I'm driving a Buick this week, and I have to tell you, Michael, it is a stunningly good car. Now, I haven't taken it on the road, I haven't taken it up into the woods or anything yet, or on the Joe Rachichu Memorial testing course, but it's stunning looking.
What sort of model is it?
It's the not the Avenir, but the oh man, what the heck is the name of the
The
I
Sabre.
forgot. No, no, no. I don't know if they make the LeSabre anymore. It's funny. The last LeSabre that I drove was a little LeSabre station wagon that they made about 7 or 8 years ago. Not an SUV, a station wagon. And they called it a shooting brake. And it, too, was one of the best cars I had driven all year.
Because the Buick division is kind of quiet right now, isn't it?
No, no, they're actually not. This one is the Enclave, the Buick Enclave. What Buick has done is they've gotten rid of the cars, and they're strictly an SUV division.
Aha.
And for a long time, not an Enclave, excuse me, an Envista.
Invista?
Envista, Envista, Buick Envista.
Is that a word?
It is the Buick. And interestingly, interestingly enough, for years, Buick has been going after Lexus. It's been their main, what they think to be competition. And with this particular car, and they've done it before on some other cars, but certainly this car has come as close to a Lexus
Really?
as really anything I've driven. Without, I mean, I guess Kia tries to go for it. Genesis tries to, because Lexus really has become like the luxury standard.
They're good
And
cars.
this,
They've earned it, though. They're good cars.
yeah, it's a great car to Lexus. And Buick has been inching up on them. And I just think the looks of the car, the way it rides, the way it catches your eye, the comfort of the front seats are
Oh,
phenomenal.
yeah. Yeah.
It's some of the most comfortable front seats I've ever sat in. And I just can't say, like I said, I've only been driving the car less than 24 hours, but I've really enjoyed this. It's just a very impressive car. So we'll be talking about that. And, can American automakers make something that stands up to the Lexus or the Genesis or the Infinities or any of these cars? The luxury cars that come over from Japan or England or Germany, and it's a tough and tall order because they make great cars. Especially the Germans make unbelievable cars when it comes to luxury cars. But this Buick really it takes a swing at the fence and hits it. So we'll be talking about. There's a few other automotive topics that we'll be rolling through tomorrow at 8:00. for drive time, which is just a load of fun to do. I was just and we're gonna have um, musical guests tomorrow.
Who?
Will include Susan Cowsill.
Oh my God. What about all the other little cow cells?
Nope, just Susan and her band that she formed with her then husband, Peter Holsapple of REM fame. And they have a little band that they put together and called the Continental Drifters.
Oh,
And
really?
the,
I think
and
I've
the
heard of that.
Continental Drifters, who've been around a while, I mean, they were performing. But I'll tell you something: if you want to see a great piece of music, go to YouTube and punch up Susan Cowsill doing "To Sir with Love."
Really?
That's a song that I have always said that somebody should cover. Um, I always thought that Cher would have made a great version of that. Madonna would have done a great "To Sir with Love."
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Just the song fit them. The vocal gymnastics of the song fit them. And Susan Cowsill has done it with her band, who play predominantly in Southern California, I guess. And it's a hit. It's a winner. It's
One of
just
the
a
other
song.
one of the other cow cells is the drummer for the Beach Boys.
Right. I guess John Stamos is busy. Well, is he a drummer for the Beach Boys or is he a drummer for Mike Love's Beach Boys?
He's the drummer for Mike Love. There are no
Yeah, see, that's
Bruce
the
Johnson's still
distinction
there.
you have. I mean, even the freaking Beach Boys have a war going on.
They're building a wall between Mike Love and the rest of the Beach Boys, and you can buy advertising on both sides of it.
Which the rest of the Beach Boys would probably be okay with. I don't know that there's any, no pun intended, love lost there. He's always been a weird dude anyway, hasn't he?
Difficult human.
Yeah, he just seems at some point get kind of assy and never got off of it.
How can you not like Al Jardine? How can you not like Al Jardine? What's your
Love
problem?
Al Jardine. I love Al Jardine so much. I love his kid Matt, who goes out on who goes out on tour with them, and with Brian Wilson and that band. As a matter of fact, they did a version of Heroes and Villains, a live version of Heroes and Villains that's spectacular, and it's Matt leading the backup singers, and he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
No, I love Al Jardine, man. Out of all the Beach Boys, he's the guy I'd want to have over for dinner.
Well, he could tell you some stories that would curl your hair.
Yeah. If you talk to Brian, I don't know that you'd get much. I mean, Bruce Johnston, I don't know. Maybe you get something out of him. Maybe you wouldn't. But Al looks like a guy who'd just sit in the living room, drop down a scotch or a bourbon or something and tell you some great stories.
And Al wrote that great song called that was on Holland's album. Have you ever been down to Monterey? Big Sur congregation. Country Joe come to do his show and sing about liberty. Water.
Yeah, I love that song.
I think it's California Saga.
Yeah. I was almost thinking the same song, but it's not the same song. We're singing that same song.
I know what you mean.
Love the Beach Boys, man. Love the Beach Boys. One of the only bands that could hold their own with the Beatles in that 60s mix.
Well, they had their own sound, and that's such a difficult thing to have.
Yeah. Bands today don't have that. Bands today don't have.
Believe me, I've noticed.
Yeah, they don't have, you can't, back in that time, you could listen to a band and tell who it was.
That's right, Vinnie.
With rare exceptions, right? I mean, you knew a Four Seasons song was a Four Seasons song. You could listen to the Grateful Dead and know it was the Dead. Unless they did, some kind of weird little, like when the Four Seasons did the Dylan song. But when they did the Dylan song, they didn't put it out as the Four Seasons.
What did they do?
They called it the Wonder Who. Remember, it was Don't Think Twice. And you knew it was Frankie, and you knew it was the Four Seasons, but it was such a departure from what their sound was that they put it out under another name.
The Wonder Who. I'm gonna search for
Wonder
that
Who.
I'm gonna search for that on Spotify.
I'm sure you've heard that song. They did Don't Think Twice, and they do a version of the Good Ship Lollipop.
Wow.
That if you haven't heard Frankie Valli singing the Good Ship Lollipop, you're missing out. It was a pretty good article about Frankie in, I think, the Los Angeles Times, maybe last week or the week before or something like that, but within the last couple of weeks.
There's somebody else with the name The Wonder Who. Well, I'll continue my search some other time. Anyway, Ben, have a good show tomorrow.
Mikey,
don't worry about the Speaker of the House. The Lord will set him afire and turn him into a pillar of salt.
Well, you know what happens when you turn speakers up too loud?
The woofer blows.
The woofer blows, they get destroyed, and you have to go out and get a new speaker.
Wait a minute.
And who knows what that would look like. All right, you babysitting this weekend, right?
I'm babysitting tomorrow. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Good background.
How you like that?
Now you'll have that in your head all day.
I love that song.
I'm going to add it.
Yeah, add it. The Wonder Who, man, produced by Bob Crew and Bob
Crew Generation.
Bob Crew Generation. What was their music to watch girls by, right?
Yeah.
Was their but Bob Crew's not watching girls. I'm just saying.
No, he wasn't. He was watching the charts and other things.
Yes, he was watching other. He wasn't watching the girls. All right, man. Peace, love. I mean, I'll see you Monday if the Lord's will. You got me Frankied out now. See you Monday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Don't forget drive time tomorrow morning at 8:00. We'll be here with the Yo Vinnie and looking back at some good stuff that's coming up. And we have an announcement. We're not going to make it this week. Next week we'll announce it. But some good stuff coming up on drive time for the month of November. And until then, Mikey, have a good weekend. And we'll, always remember peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you, Vinnie.
See you, pal. Bye-bye. Thank you all for listening as well.